Very good morning to you. Watching the Channel M Breakfast Show on Tuesday, the 17th of February. I'm Nikki D.
And I'm Byron Evans. Been looking at the new award ceremony that's been taking place in America. It started about 7 years ago. Basically, celebrating the craziest, the most outrageous lawsuits to be brought to court. And these are fantastic. They're absolutely true as well. Jerry Williams of Little Rock, Arkansas, was awarded $14,500 or 10 grand, plus medical expenses after being bitten on the bottom by his next-door neighbour's beagle. Fair enough, you'd have thought. The dog was on a chain and Mr. Williams had hopped over the fence and repeatedly shot it with a pellet gun.
What? So he provoked the poor dog?
He provoked the poor dog,
That's
yeah,
ridiculous.
absolutely. Here's another one. A woman threw a drink at her boyfriend in a Philadelphia restaurant, then slipped on the liquid that spilt, broke her tailbone and successfully sued the restaurant for £79,000.
£79,000? That's ridiculous. And she threw the water at the fella.
Yeah.
There you go. You wonder why we live in the society in which we do. Downright madness. In just a couple of minutes, we'll have all the latest sport headlines for you, plus your business news. But first, here's James Webster with today's top news stories.
Good morning. These are Tuesday's top stories. Manchester will get its own directly elected mayor if the Tories win the next election. It's one of a series of reforms of councils that are being spelt out by David Cameron. He says he wants to take more power away from central government. He'd also get rid of caps on council tax rises, which would allow areas to hold their own referendum to decide whether to allow big increases. A foster mum's been arrested after it's claimed she was filmed assaulting a 3-year-old boy she was looking after in Rochdale. The woman was picked up by police in a midnight raid and questioned over allegations that she hit him round the head, kicked him and struck him with a mobile phone. She's been looking after youngsters for several years and has now been suspended. The council says it may speak to some of the children who've been placed with her. The head of Manchester City Council is leading tributes to a Labour politician who founded the nuclear-free movement in the 1980s. 78-year-old Bill Risby, who was one of the city's longest-serving councillors, died in a car crash yesterday. It's thought he may have suffered a seizure while driving on Mostyn Lane. He famously led the declaration of Manchester as a nuclear-free city before other cities followed suit. Sir Richard Leese says Bill was a friend and colleague and an outstanding servant to Manchester and especially Mostyn. He will be sadly missed. Our thoughts are with his family. The government's crime advisor is threatening to cut funding for criminals doing community service here in Manchester. It's after they allowed some to do work without their new high-vis vests, which show that they're part of the community payback plan. Georgia Calvin-Smith's got more on this.
The Community Payback Scheme requires offenders who are serving out part of their sentence by carrying out work in the community to wear orange high-vis jackets with the scheme's logo emblazoned across them. But months after the new jackets were brought in, a Community Payback team enlisted to clean up Manchester's Piccadilly Gardens were allowed to work in unmarked bibs, and in doing so have attracted the condemnation of Government Crime Advisor Louise Casey.
There's no point doing it if they're not going to do it properly. Manchester City Council are absolutely clear that any further community payback that happens, they want those criminals in the orange jackets and they want them doing work that Mancunians have said they want done.
Some critics have accused the scheme of dehumanising offenders and leaving them open to abuse and vigilante attacks. Ms Casey has little sympathy with this view and, from the beginning, has stressed the importance of visibility when, rather than being sent to prison, lawbreakers are given the opportunity to work in neighbourhoods, paying society back for their crimes.
I want to see criminals paying back to their communities by cleaning Manchester Piccadilly Gardens. You know, my idea of joy is when people break the law around here, they spend the following day, you know, cleaning up the very areas that the public are concerned about and in orange jackets.
Here in Middleton, there's been a mixed reaction to the idea of justice needing to be seen to be done.
They should wear yellow jackets, whatever, criminal on the back of it. Why not? Why not?
They're going to be targeted. People are going to look at them like, oh, you're a criminal, even though they don't know the person or anything like that.
I think it's good for the communities to know that local criminals are doing something useful.
I think there's pros in terms of the public, in terms of they can tell what people have been doing, etc. But then it can't be very nice for the people who have to wear them, because everyone makes mistakes.
Manchester City Council has been warned that if the orange bibs are not used for teams working under the Community Payback Scheme, they could be stripped of funding. Georgia Calvin-Smith, Channel M News.
Filming on Coronation Street will completely stop for the first time in a decade later. The set will come to a standstill so staff can go to a memorial service for Sarah Roach, the wife of Bill Roach, who plays Ken Barlow. She died last week at the couple's home in Cheshire. The last time production was cancelled was in 1999 when the actor Brian Moseley, who played Alf Roberts, died. That's all from me for this morning. I'll have more for you in the lunchtime news at 12 noon, and Andy Crane's also here tonight from 5. Now, though, let's get the sport from Byron and Mike.
Well, loads to get through this morning, so let's fire through the paper chat, shall we? And what news on the Haymaker?
On the Haymaker, well, he was supposed to fight Vladimir Klitschko in London at the O2 Arena. That deal fell through. He's now called out Vladimir, the WBO and IBF heavyweight champion of the world, and said he's prepared to go to Berlin to fight him. And his manager has given him a rematch option, so his next 2 fights could be against the big man from behind the Iron Curtain. Let's hope they get it on, because, hey, this is going to be his year. So
could Klitschko be running scared?
I think he is.
OK, well, John Terry has his price insist City owners. Now, this is a story. This is causing more than a few eyebrows to be raised.
Yeah, yesterday we said John Terry had come out with a statement on the Chelsea website saying he was not interested in coming to City. We now believe that City have the money to bring him here. John Terry's advisors have been speaking to City. They believe the player has a price, and John Terry himself is interested to hear what the new owners have said. So that one not as dead and buried as John Terry was trying to make us believe yesterday. And speaking of City, Villa are going to offer £8 million for Mika Richards during the summer, and Spurs' big signing Roman Pavlyuchenko, the 27-year-old striker, he's expressed a dislike for Great Britain, saying he hates the food, he hates the referees, he hates television, and he hates the women. Roman, you know where the door is.
Yeah, jog on, Roman. All right, let's finish off with our favourite team. Well, our favourite team on the ice, that is, Manchester Phoenix.
Manchester Phoenix, exactly. They were involved in Cup semi-final action over the weekend, and here's how they got on.
It's always a tough game when we play them. You know, they got a good team, a lot of skill, so we got to, make sure we play our positions right and, play a true game. Yeah, you don't want to really think about it. You go into it thinking it's just another game that you want to go out and win, but, it's always in the back of your mind, and when you get the first goal, it definitely helps out your confidence a bit.
And now the Phoenix are through to the Challenge Cup final, where we'll go home and away with the Belfast Giants.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be a good test for the team, and, Belfast is a good team. We just have to play our game and, never know what can happen.
Jeremy, that was a brave effort tonight.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a brave effort or not, but we're struggling, and that just showed tonight how much we really are struggling.
Don't think anybody could have expected such a tough battle. I mean, there's some people in the media were expecting it to be an easy game for the Phoenix, but it wasn't an easy game, and I think a lot of credit goes to the Bison for the effort they put in tonight.
Yeah, I think our work ethic's usually there. We're just not working too smart, and we're pretty down with the recent run of results. So, not much left to play for now, so we're just going to have to play for some pride, that's all.
But professional pride will drive you on till the end of the season.
Well, it's going to have to, or we're going to have some people not playing a whole lot. So we got to act like professionals and play hard for the rest of the year and just see what happens.
Joining me this morning for your business news is Kevin Feddy, Deputy Business Editor of the Manchester Evening News. And we're also joined this morning by Julian Newry, Managing Director of Cash Generator. A very good morning to both of you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Thanks for coming in. We'll start with you, Kevin, if I may, and let's get the bad news out of the way. There is some invariably in the MEN business pages this morning. Local firm is cutting more jobs.
Yes, it's Simon Carves at Cheadle Hulme, Nicky. They're an engineering construction services business going back over 125 years. But unfortunately, the downturn is biting. Their orders are being cancelled or postponed, and they've initiated a process of cutting 99 jobs out of their workforce.
Construction industry in particular, we spoke about it at length, has been hit particularly badly at the moment. Does this spell disaster for perhaps other companies that work within that industry?
Well, the industry is being hit very severely. What's happening at Simon Carves is their contracts are being hit all across the UK and Europe, although other areas are doing quite well, for example, in the Middle East. So there are some glimmers of hope for companies with operations overseas, but the British picture is very severe.
OK, bad news out of the way. Let's move on to some good news, and you always manage to find some for us.
Always like good news, yes.
Some more figures out this morning. Domino's and KFC in particular.
Well, Domino's Pizzas have announced profits for the year. They're up 25% at £23.4 million. Wow. That's beaten expectations. Their sales have been up 18.4% at over £350 million. what's happening is that consumers are looking to stay away from restaurants and so on in the downturn and order takeaways for their home, and Domino's is reaping the benefits. We saw yesterday KFC announcing plans to expand their chain of takeaways, creating 9,000 jobs over the next few years, and recently McDonald's also announced their strongest ever year in the UK. So as the downturn hits, consumers still want to eat out, still want treats, but they're looking for more value for money.
I suppose it's a middle ground, isn't it, of still feeling like you are spending money on yourself and you're having that bit of a treat, but without blowing out on a big meal in a fancy restaurant.
Exactly.
Another company that's obviously doing very well is Cash Generator. Good morning, Julian.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for coming in this morning. Tell us about your story, what's happening over at Cash Generator.
Well, I think very similar to what Kevin's just alluded to, that the consumers are looking to make the pound in their pocket go further, and therefore buying pre-owned goods from our stores has never been so popular. So as other high street retailers are experiencing a decline, particularly in electrical retail sales, we're experiencing a growth, which is fantastic.
For people that aren't familiar with Cash Generator, it's where people can bring their old goods that they've had and sell them to you, and then the other side of it is that people then can come in and buy in, as you've said, electrical goods in particular,
Absolutely.
cheaper than they would do on the high street. What
Yes.
sort of profit then are you talking up from last year?
We've experienced across all of our stores, that's the franchise stores and the company stores combined, 9.4% increase, which we're delighted with.
Which is not bad at all.
No. In terms of the products, as you say, we do buy pre-owned goods from the public. We live in a sort of a disposable throwaway society now, and models change so quickly. So it's a great opportunity for people to bring things to us, or part exchange them, and then get the latest model on the market. And that's what makes the model so successful.
Excellent. You're going to be looking at opening some new stores as well?
We are indeed. We believe we're going to open 20 new stores this year, and at least 4 or 5 in the northwest. The first one being Cheetham Hill, which we're hoping will open around about May, June time.
So that means obviously that that's going to be bringing new jobs to the area. Where would people
Yes.
find out about this particular?
We have our own website, so jobs will be posted on there, and we advertise locally as well. I have to say, retail is obviously a very difficult arena at the moment, so I don't think we'll have any problems recruiting quality staff in the northwest.
Excellent. And finally, just a very quick mention, because I know we're going to try and get him onto the show. We have spoken about this young chap before, only 30 years old. He invented the iTeddy. I said to you earlier, why didn't I think of it? Some of these ideas are just the simplest ones on the surface, not to undo all the hard work that he's done, of course. But he's doing fantastically well at the moment.
He is Imran Hakim from Bolton. He's built this iTeddy business into an 11 million turnover enterprise spanning the world, literally from an office in Bolton. And he's now been enlisted by the Manchester University Intellectual Property Fund. It's a company which looks for spin-out enterprises from students to help drive entrepreneurship in the region.
Excellent. So there is still a glimmer of hope. There are entrepreneurs out there and some good news to be had if we look
Absolutely.
hard enough. Thank you very much, Kevin and Julian, for coming in this morning.
Thank you.
Time now for a quick break, after which we'll have City Life entertainment news for you, featuring ex-frontman of The Darkness, Justin Hawkins. We'll see you soon.